نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Sister Layla and everybody. In fact, my brother and sister, yesterday we spoke to Sister Layla about this topic, and 1 hour ago also I spoke to Brother Muhammad about a very important topic. Before we start, always start with what Allah said and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam about our situation, especially about this topic. يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى في سورة الإسراء آية number 36, سورة الإسراء. الإسراء here about Rasul, that I mean الإسراء, it was from Mecca to المسجد الأقصى, Jerusalem. That's the surah. Allah يقول number 36, ولا تقف ما ليس لك به علم. Do not give fatwa. ولا تقف ما ليس لك, something you don't know, don't speak about it. Do not speak about it. And he said, إن السمع والبصر والفؤاد كل أولئك كان عنه مسؤولا. Beautiful ayat in Surah Al-Isra, number 36. Remember that, Al-Isra 36. Allah, ولا تقف ما ليس لك علم. Do not make fatwa something you don't know. إن السمع, the hearing, والبصر, the vision, والفؤاد, القلب, the qalb, and also the core of the heart, that call it فؤاد. كان ذلك كان عنه مسؤولا. Everything Allah will ask us about my vision, my hands, my legs, my hearing, what I'm listening, and what I'm sharing. Allah will ask us about that. And also very important hadith in Bukhari also, and that's scary hadith. And many hadith about this topic, but this is scary hadith about this topic. And give me attention what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam speak. قال لكل ابن آدم حظه من الزنا. Every human being had a part of adultery, zina, of adultery. And give me attention now. من الزنا. فزنا العين النظر. When you look something haram, now the cell phone, the laptop, movies, a lot of things, people now most of the movies now, people kissing and hugging and more and more and more. When you look, Allah said, وَإِنَّ الْعَيْنَ من النظر, الزنا, we make zina. واللسان والمنطق, zina, to speak, carrying what those people saying, carrying or sharing, that's zina, adultery. والأذنان, you listen and you agree, and some people you sharing what they're hearing, zina. والاستماع واليدان, and hands when you do something haram, zina. And the legs come also adultery, zina. And so والفم, that's zina. And son, and he says sallallahu alaihi wasallam at the end, يصدق ذلك كله ويكذب. That means if you agree, that's zina. If you disagree, be away, is not zina. So the ayah before, the إن السمع, hearing, والبصر والفؤاد, the vision and the heart, we have to, Allah will ask us. And the hadith agree here. All this, if I agree and follow and sharing, listen away, and that is zina. May Allah protect us. Brother Muhammad, this introduction is very important. Before you speak, Jazakallah khair, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaykum salam.
Exactly right. I think one of the biggest problems we have this day and age is with the internet and with the social media and how widespread it is. I think right now more than ever. I was just actually talking to a mom earlier today, and she was explaining to me how, the phone was given to their children at the age of 8, 9 years old, and I was kind of in shock of like, that's a little too young for my taste to give somebody that much power in their hands. Because I don't think we realize the impact of what we watch and what we see and what we hear on social media. Right now, it's like everybody's an expert at everything, right? You have so many people who just wear the doctor's uniform, and all of a sudden now this guy's a doctor. We can trust what he says. He knows everything. He knows what I could listen to him. He's talking about my toes tingling, so he's telling me that I'm probably gonna have a heart attack. So now it causes us anxiety. It causes us all this pain, all this depression in our hearts because we just listened to a guy who looks like a doctor tell us that the tingling in our toes means we're having a heart attack, which is most ridiculous things. One of the most ridiculous things that you could see out there. The other thing that really kind of the kids, I guess, don't realize is I was dealing with a Muslim brother years ago. I want to say like 2 years ago, about he's in his 20s, 22 years ago, about 20, 25, 26 years old. And he came to me via a recommendation from another imam. And he said, brother, I have a problem. My parents are trying to force me to get married. They want me to get married. They want me to get married. They want me to get married. And I don't want to get married because I feel like I can't, I'm not what they want me to be. I'm different. And I said, okay, well, we're all different. He goes, no, well, I have different feelings. And I don't feel the same way about girls the way I'm supposed to. I feel more about guys. And he was basically going back and forth with this whole issue. And as he's talking, I listen. And maybe because I've done this for so long, I kind of just hearing the voice, hear the tone, and just listen to the words he's saying. I said, well, let me ask you a question. What kind of stuff are you watching online?
Yeah.
And he, was running around the circles, going back and forth, saying these different things. I said, I know exactly what you're watching. You're watching this haram stuff. Let's just be blunt about it and let's fix it up. We can fix this up. And so I said, let's try 2 or 3 days where we don't watch anything. Nothing. Just don't even go online. We're going to do an online detox. 2 or 3 days. I call them up. Doing great. Okay, I'm feeling a little bit better. You're absolutely right. I see what's going on here. I see it because everything you put in your eyes, everything you put in your ears, everything you're watching, you're ingesting through your eyes and through your ears. It's going right there to your heart. It's messing up your soul. Like it's messing you up. It's giving you vibes that are not supposed to be there, right? There's the vibrations that we're not supposed to be having. So we did that for 2 weeks. SubhanAllah, he started saying, listen, man, I think, you have something right on this because I'm feeling different. I don't like that kind of stuff anymore. It's weird, but I still don't want to get married, but I just want to catch myself. I want to fix myself up before I put myself in a situation. I said, okay, I understand. But a week down the road, he went back to doing what he wanted to do, fell back into the trap of watching that kind of stuff, and he lost connection with me. At the end of the day, what he wanted me to do was go to his parents and say, it's okay for him to be that way. And I kept telling him I can't do that. That's not my job. That's not what I do. My job is to try to fix, try to help, try to assist, but not create any more haram. Right. The first thing I tell everybody when I come into their homes or have a discussion with parents or for kids is I make sure I try to put the deen first. Right. Islam always comes number one, and then your feelings comes after that. And then we can talk about the feelings aspect of it after we talk about why it's haram or why we Muslims do certain things. And that's just one example of the stuff that I've seen and in my years of doing stuff like this. Other stuff that I've talked to with non-Muslims is the music that these kids are listening to, right? That if you notice, music is basically everything. Music is in everything. Music is in our movies. Music is in our videos. Music is even like it's weird. Even some of the Islamic videos I see has music behind it, because it creates that dramatizing feeling that that you're going to get something, or if you're watching an action video or action movie, you're going to have action music to make you feel some type of way. And so there's a lot of even during Ramadan, when I tell the Muslim kids, hey, during Ramadan, I know they tell you not to eat or drink, but I'm gonna put another task on you guys. Don't listen to music. for that 1 month, let's try to not listen to music. It's a subhanAllah, the second week of Ramadan, when I go into the school and talk to the kids, like, well, brother, when I'm watching, the YouTube shorts or TikTok, there's music behind the videos. And so it's my way of showing them, letting them learn. I'm telling you the truth. I'm not lying to you guys. Everything that we do, everything that we see, everything that we want to do or use has music behind it. And there's a reason for that, because music makes you feel some type of way. I remember in college when I did my paper on road rage. Right? I had to do a thesis on road rage, and it was a nice paper that I did, and it was all about what type of music causes road rage. Right. And it's kind of like I was researching, reading, and basically, the different types of music causes you to drive a certain type of way. And if you ever notice yourself, and you guys can try this, maybe inshallah after this video, after you guys watch this, see what happens to you when you're listening to Quran in your car compared to when you're listening to music in the car. See what kind of feelings you're getting. See how fast you're driving, how slow you're driving, how impatient you are when somebody cuts you off, or how patient you are when somebody cuts you off. It's a weird test to test yourself, because it's very, very true. Years ago, when I was working in the drugs and alcohol, I was talking to one of the guys who was working with Sony down here in Miami, and I got to look at his pay stubs and saw how much money this guy was making, and he explained to me what he does for Sony and how he puts the tone in the music. He doesn't make music. He puts the tone in the music to make you get addicted to those songs, to create the number one hits, right? Because then you hear it one time on the radio, you're gonna go on YouTube, you're gonna YouTube it real quick, and you're gonna keep listening to it, and that's what creates people to have number one hits. If you ever notice, they have a lot of number one hits these days, because that tone that he puts in, and makes you addicted to listening to that song. He explained it to me. It's a patent that they have, that he's responsible for putting it in the right spot, the right time, at the right tone. And it's so scary that he was saying it with no remorse, no type of empathy. Because one of the clients had said to him, "Don't you feel bad that these songs that they're throwing out there, F this and F that, and women are this and women are that, and do drugs and kill, like it's doesn't that give you some type of anxiety that you're letting these kids get addicted to this?" And he said, "Well, that's not my responsibility. That's the parents' responsibility. Because my responsibility is to get paid. I got to get paid." He said, "I don't let my kids listen to the music, but I will make sure I get paid." And so you see where people stand on what happens with humans, with humanity, right? Here as Muslims, we kind of we're geared on trying to save the world, trying to help the Muslims, trying to help each other, trying to bring people to Islam. We see our kids who are listening to these music, who are watching these videos, who are seeing these girls dressed a certain type of way. They see these guys act a certain type of way. And you see our younger generation of kids who are born Muslims saying, being Muslim is boring. Being Muslim is boring. And I see it online where, these girls are having so much fun and they're getting paid so much money. And all they're doing is, they're just dancing on TikTok. I could do that too, Mom. I can make a lot of money for us. And they see this stuff. They see the reward, right? They're seeing the reward right now. And it's our kids are now wanting. And this is not, when I say kids, I don't just mean, 10, 12, 15-year-olds. I'm talking in the 20s, even sometimes in the 30s, where I see these people who use social media to make money. And I don't mind people using social media to make money. If you want to make money doing stocks, doing something good and teaching people something halal and teaching somebody something, that's good, that's fine. Do it. But if you're showing your family off and you're showing your daughters off, you're showing your wives off, you're showing just your whole house off, and you're just your whole home life is basically on social media. That to me, I kind of say, listen, there's a line that you don't cross, right? As Muslims, we don't do that. What happens in our homes, stay in our homes. We guard our women. Our women are our queens. We don't kind of post them online so all these men that are out there can see what our daughters looking like, what our wives are looking like. We're not supposed to do stuff like that. But what ends up happening is you see these Muslims following these other Muslims who are doing these. And you see the younger generation saying, well, Mom, you're watching that video of that other Muslim family doing that, so let's do that too, so we can get paid. And it becomes a normal thing. becomes a normality, right? And I'm going to say this today because it's the holiday season, and I'm also seeing things online that's really it gets me nerve wracking because I'm seeing these Muslims putting up Christmas trees. And they're posting about it on Instagram and oh, we're not celebrating, we're just doing it because it's pretty in our house. And I say this with all the love in my heart. We're Muslims, we don't do that. We don't do that. We don't do what everybody else is doing. And I don't know how many times I say when everybody's going left, Muslims, we go right. We go the right path. We go the right way. We go in the right direction. We do things right. And when I see non-Muslims who are saying, well, I did so much research and I found out that holiday is a pagan holiday and it's not that, and it has nothing to do with Jesus, and I'm going to stop celebrating. The non-Muslims are saying these things now. Non-Muslims are stopping to celebrating this stuff. But then now I see the Muslims going in and posting that they're, oh, look at my, mashallah, my beautiful tree. You're saying, mashallah, my beautiful tree? It's a contradiction. That's one of the biggest contradictions I've seen so far. But what ends up happening is that these people have hundreds of thousands of followers, Muslim followers, and these Muslim followers see that this person, that influencer is doing it, so now it became okay. So if this person is doing it, then why can't I do it? Because another Muslim's doing it. She wears hijab, she wears everything. Why, if she's doing it, I should be able to do it. And so, and I've heard this, man, I've heard this so many times in the schools with the kids, with the youth, the 7th graders, the 8th graders, where they'll tell me these things. Well, brother Muhammad, you always say, we're not supposed to do certain things, but I was watching these videos, and she had a Christmas tree in the background. She was making a Arabic dish from Syria or from Lebanon, I don't know, whatever country they're from, and she wears a hijab, and behind her in her kitchen she had a Christmas tree. But they said it was okay because it wasn't like they were celebrating Christmas. They're not putting gifts under it. They were just having it out there. And it irks me because I have to go and explain to them that what that person is doing is wrong. That person that's doing that Christmas tree, and that person that's putting a mistletoe up there, that person who's listening to Christmas music, that person has fallen into the trap. Okay, and so when we, as Muslims, we have to keep ourselves strong enough to understand that that's not the way we roll, right? We're not supposed to kind of like follow the crowd of what everybody else is doing. I don't know how many times I've seen people or watching people who are hijabis walk around the malls trying to shop for Christmas gifts. Christmas gifts. And I make a joke at work. I laugh to them at work because they always say, "Oh, Muhammad's a Muslim. He doesn't celebrate Christmas." And I make a joke back, and I'm like, "Oh no, I'm not a pagan. That's why I don't celebrate Christmas. It doesn't have anything to do with Muslims. It's just I'm not a pagan, so I don't celebrate Christmas. But I can receive gifts. I can't give gifts, right? I always, give me all the gifts you want. That's fine. I'll take all the gifts you want, but I just can't give you anything." Right? We make a laugh. We joke about it and everything, but it's scary to see that our Muslim brothers and sisters are falling into this trap of everybody else is doing it, so it should be okay. And what's more amazing to me is the reverse, the people who come back to Islam, when they take Islam more seriously, they even ask the question, well, Brother Muhammad, how come I see some of these Muslims putting these decorations up and putting lights around their house? I got invited to a Christmas dinner one time with a Muslim family, and I get like so upset because I'm like, brother, I'm sorry to tell you this, but they're not. There's Islam is perfect, but the people are not. Remember that the Quran is perfect, but the Muslims, we have our faults. I'm not, and I always say, by all means, I'm not perfect. I'm the last person to say that I'm perfect. I always say I'm not a sheikh, I'm not an imam, I'm not, I don't know the Quran. I can't tell you what number surahs and all that kind of stuff that Brother Jamali mashallah can do, but I can tell you that in real life, Islam actually solves so many of these problems. It solves so many of these issues. It solves so many things. And I was listening to somebody who was talking about why people fear Islam so much, why the people up top fear Islam so much, and why they don't want Islam, why they keep fighting Islam. And even the kids who ask me, why they keep fighting Islam, why they don't like us. And when you look down deep into Islam and you see how much it answers,
Yes.
then you see why they hate Islam. Think about it like this. If everybody was a Muslim and they followed Islam the right way, the Christmas holiday would be gone. You talking about a $1 billion industry of Christmas tree lights and trees and all these different things that they do, that would be gone. Right. And so they don't want these other industries. There's a lot of other industries we could talk about. We talk about the pornography industry, we talk about the alcohol industry, we could talk about the banking industry. You know, what would happen to the banking industry if Islam took over? Everybody would have a house. Oh no, we can't have that. We can't have everybody having a house. We can't have everybody affording to have a house. We can't have that because, you know, there's no money in that. Right? It becomes very, very unprofitable to follow Islam. And that's kind of why I always tell the kids, like, we don't do what everybody else does. Just because there's a Muslim girl who wears a hijab, putting a Christmas tree in the behind her house and in the back of her, you know, whatever, in her living room. That's not right. We're not supposed to do that stuff. The things you see, the things you watch, the things that you hear about. And I always tell the kids, like, if you have any questions about any of the stuff that you've seen online, when I'm coming through, talk to me and ask me. Because there are a lot of them don't want to talk to their parents. I wish they would. I wish they would talk to their parents. I really wish that the parents would talk to the kids about stuff like this. But a lot of times when I ask the kids, did you ask your mom about that? Did you ask your dad? Well, no, because, you know, they start yelling at me and say, why did I even watch that? You know, and so they don't want to ask their parents. So they'll ask me these questions and I'll answer these questions. And a lot of times I get the feedback from the parents who will say, well, how do I make my kid talk to me about the stuff that they're seeing? My answer is, or my question to them is, how come you don't know what they're watching? Right? Where are you when your kids are watching what they're watching? Are you leaving the kids alone in the rooms while they're watching the stuff that they're watching? If there's a certain age, I get it, you know, age of a girl or age of a guy where they have, you know, they need their time, or they need to go change, or they need to go in their bedroom, they need to do certain things. What are you doing? Why are you not watching the stuff that they're watching? Right? And why aren't you explaining to them what they're watching? And why it's haram, or why it's halal, or why we don't do this, or why we don't do that? Right. And so when you start to ask these questions to the parents, they start to think, okay, well, where is the kid usually watching their stuff? Where is the kid usually doing what they're doing? Where am I when my kid is watching what they're watching? What am I doing when my kids are doing what they're doing? Because I'm pretty sure 99% of the time I know where my kids are, what they're doing, who they're talking to, what they're watching. Not because I'm a hover dad, like I hover over my kids. What do they call them? A helicopter father. Right, like I'm watching I'm not that kind of father, but I'm always wanting to know what's going on, right? Not just for them, for their sake, but also for my work, right? Because in my life and work, I have to know what's going on. I have to see what's going on online. I have to be able to talk to everybody about what I see and what these kids are watching. All right, and I always think, and I always have to tell everybody, it's not just us Muslims that are having this problem. A lot of parents who are non-Muslims are having the same problems. My kid listens to so much music, Mr. Muhammad. My kid watches so much of the bad stuff, Mr. Muhammad. Doesn't matter what channel I turn to, Mr. Muhammad, they're watching something bad. It doesn't matter what channel I turn it on to. There's either a boy and a girl doing something, or a boy and boy doing something, or a girl and girl doing something. Every channel that we put on, Mr. Muhammad, there's always something going on. What are we supposed to do about that? Right? And I always have to explain to them, you got to fill up that time with something else.
Yes.
All right, you have to fill up that time with something else. I get the TV. I get it. I know Brother Damali, he doesn't have a TV in his house. I know a couple of people that have no TVs in their house. But again, I do get it. And I do understand that the fact that some people do have TVs doesn't mean you got to turn it on all the time. Doesn't mean that this TV has to be on 24/7. Because I swear, even when I'm watching the news in the morning to see what the weather is like, even when I'm watching the news just to see the weather girl, the guy, the girl on the TV, or the commercials, something bad going on. Constantly something haram is going on. Whether it's, they're talking about these medications, because I think America is the only country that actually has like 5-minute prescription medication commercials on TV, where they're trying to, brag about these medications that they're trying to offer, and it's always about AIDS or something. And it's like a 5-minute commercial, and it's two guys dancing together. And I just wanted to watch the news. I just wanted to watch the weather. Why do I got to see 5 minutes of this to get to where the weather is going to be like today? So I know whether or not to wear a jacket, carry an umbrella, or wear my shirt. And and it's scary because I always tell the parents, like, we have to watch what our kids are watching. We have to watch what we're watching in front of our kids, right? And I know last week we kind of brushed up on what was going on overseas, and we kind of talked about what was going on overseas. And sometimes also for that aspect of it, when we're watching all the stuff that we're seeing on overseas, we're seeing all the stuff that's happening. It really does have a big impact on our anxiety levels, on our depression, on our stress levels, right? And I mean, I can get personal and say there's days where I don't sleep, right? You see videos, you see these things, and you're like, 1 minute you're happy, you're excited, the next minute you're sad and depressed, and then you're sad and depressed again, and then you're sad, and it becomes like a really stressful situation to keep watching all that stuff that we're seeing online. And we're in a time right now. I mean, I'm old enough to tell you guys that I was there before the internet. I remember the time before the internet where we would drink out of the hose behind the house and play outside until nighttime, to when the internet started, to where we're at now. I remember all those times. And right now we're at such a hard time. I said alhamdulillah all the time. I'm not in high school right now. I'm so glad I'm not in high school right now, because high school, I mean, you're talking about the bullies, and you're talking about the social media, the memes that they make on each other, the meanness of people, because people are mean. People are very mean, and I talk to these kids all the time and explain to them, especially the Muslim kids, when they're 8th graders going into high school, and a lot of times they're going to public high school from coming into an Islamic school. And I explain to them, like, these kids, you think they're mean over here in an Islamic school? Wait until you get to high school. Wait until you get to the non-Muslims who don't really have a little bit of haya, a little bit of fear of Allah in their hearts, because those people will rip into you, and those people will make videos of you. Brothers and sisters, I will explain something. If you have a child, and Brother Damali, he kind of gave me some advice today, telling me to get my daughter to help me with my videos and stuff, because we as much as I know the online stuff, and as much as I keep up with it, my daughter, mashallah, at 16 years old, she knows how to handle it better than I do. Let our kids learn the online. Let them learn how to do online. Let them learn how to navigate online. Let them learn how to become geniuses in that aspect of onlineness, because there's ways to make money online. I always tell these kids when I'm doing I do career days, a lot of career day talks. I always tell them, in my line of work, if you have cyber security certifications, degrees, you're going to make 6 figures easy. Get online, learn how to make video games, learn how to make certain things, how to do certain things online, architectural designing. There's a lot of things you can do online that you can make on the computers, online that you can make a lot of money. But on the other end of it all, there's a lot of ways you can do a lot of haram.
Yes.
Right. And so that's one of the things I always tell the kids, like, there's a blessing and a curse with this online business. You can do lots of good if you want to, or you can do lots of bad if you want to. And it all depends on what you're looking at and what you're seeing. Because whatever you're looking at and what you're hearing, if you're doing it constantly, it becomes the normal for you. It becomes normalized for you. And you don't want haram to become normal. Right. And that's one of the things I've always told the kids is, like, if you even see your parents, I tell the kids all the time, if you see your parents looking at haram, or they're watching a movie and there's haram scenes on it, and your parents don't think that it's haram, you as a kid have to tell your mom, hey, mom, dad, that's haram. Right. And put your parents into place and let them understand that, oh my God, it's so normalized. I didn't even know that it was, I just forgot it was haram. Because as parents growing up, 35, 40-year-olds, we got so used to these scenes that are on TV, these videos that are online, we just don't think about it as being haram anymore. It's become such a normal way of life for us, in the West at least, that we just see it as, it's adi, it's all good, it's normal. Right? And it's not normal. It really isn't normal. They've made it normal. And we're not supposed to be like the rest of the people out there. Right. And again, it's not just us that have these problems. When I go to these other schools, these churches, all these other places, they're all having the same problems. They're all having their, hey man, how do we keep our kids away from all the bad stuff, all the filth? They don't say haram, they say all the filth that's online.
Yes.
And the moment I tell them that, hey, I'm sorry, the only way you could really do that is by, changing their routines, and you have to spend some time with them. Oh man, I gotta spend time with this kid. I gotta spend time with my kid, and I try not to laugh at me, but looking at Jamal, he's laughing. I try not to laugh, but but they sound so ridiculous when they say, "Well, I gotta spend time with my kid." Isn't it enough that I help him with his homework? Isn't it enough that I feed him and I pay the bills? Well, maybe back in my days, yes, that was enough. But we're talking about now. Now we're 24/7 access. 24/7 access to these phones are given to these children. And what are you doing with that time that you can that kid's sitting on here for an hour scrolling, 2 hours scrolling, 3 hours scrolling? What are you doing in those 3 hours? You're telling me that you can't fill up 3 hours with something, playing basketball, kicking the ball around, talking about some stuff, talking about school, talking about some type of future goals with their children? We're not the only ones having this problem, but we're probably the only ones that have the solution. Because in Islam, it kind of tells us everything that we need to know: how to live our lives, how to walk, how to act, how to talk. And I believe that if we don't really take that seriously and kind of push that on our children as well, I think our kids are going to be lost. I don't know. I'm sorry, Brother Damali. I don't know if you had something else you wanted to say real quick before I go.
Allah Jazakallah khair. Brother and sister, this topic is very, very important topic, and where you have to share حديث الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم البخاري: لتتبعن سنن الذين من قبلكم شبرا بشبر وذراعا بذراع لو دخلوا جحر قطب لدخلتموه. He says صلى الله عليه وسلم من الحديث: لتتبعن, you will follow the people before you, before us, before the Islam. Shibran bishibr, like a palm, the size of your palm, or the palm the size of your arm. Shibran bishibr. حتى لو دخلوا جحر ضب, even if those people, they enter the cave of the lizard, you will follow them. That's the Sahaba, the companion. يا رسول الله, one of the signs of the children, رسول الله, أن اليهود والنصارى, the Jewish and the Christian, أن قال Prophet Muhammad قال فمن, who else? In fact, yes, Brother Muhammad is speaking of a very important topic. Now, for example, many Arab country, Muslim country about the trees in Saudi Arabia. Imagine Saudi Arabia, this tree, the Christmas tree, and Emirates before, and Bahrain, and Jordan, and Egypt, and many Muslim countries. So that's Prophet Muhammad said over the truth. The people before us, we follow their, even the lizard, running in the lizard. Go in the lizard, we're going to follow their for the steps. But there's a hadith of Rasul. And also, Brother Muhammad, speaking about actually kids, with all my respect, I love you, Brother Muhammad, you know that. The parents doing the same thing. About the music, for example, we have to understand Allah Azza wa Jal says it clear about the music. Surah Luqman, ayah number 6 and 7. Surah Luqman. Allah Azza wa Jal يقول, the first ayah, number 6. من الناس من يشتري لهو الحديث ليضل عن سبيل بغير علم ويتخذها هزوا أولئك لهم عذاب مهين ومن يشتري لهو الحديث فيضل. It's very important, this ayat, brother and sister, in Surah Luqman. This ayat, whoever listen to the music and he make it like a joke, saying nothing wrong, yeah, that's number ayah. لهم عذاب مهين, severe punishment. And the ayah after that, if you believe in this kind of song of music, that's kufr wal iyad billah, if you believe in it. And that's Ibn Abbas said it, very important. Ibn Abbas, وصل many hadith الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم about the music. Many hadith is a prohibited even to listen to it, to listen to music.
Yeah.
In fact, when I was in Al-Azhar University, because in Azhar is not haram, is makruh. Al-Azhar, I learned how to have العود. ايش العود in English يا ابو
The guitar.
not guitar, عود.
I forgot what it's called. I don't know.
The guitar music. I was
Yeah.
I was a professional with the music, especially when I went to Egypt after not in high school, in university, Azhar University. I learned the song of Kulthum. I learned it in Egypt. I learned it in first years in college in Azhar University. And subhanAllah, last year in the college, I was arrested in the college, and I found out how severe is haram. I divorced this kind of music, alhamdulillah. Plus, that music, brother and sister, believe it or not, I treated jinn, boys and girls from the jinn, from the music. How to treat jinn, become completely jinn. I spoke with the followers before with my brother and sister. Believe it or not, a lot of people with music have a jinn, and sickness and cancer and many diseases of that music. Just listen, and especially people doing dancing and it's in the bathroom. And the bathroom is a place of the jinn. The jinn. You have to believe in that, brother. It's a serious problem. And Jazakallah khair, brother Muhammad, but it's haram 100%. Brother, yes, brother.
I will say a lot of kids that they always ask, and some of the parents have asked when I go to the houses and we talk about the music, we talk about this kind of stuff. Muhammad, when we go to the grocery store, there's music in the grocery store. Yes. When we go to the mall, there's music in the mall because they want people to be happy and they want you to shop more. It's a marketing strategy. It is what it is. So I always tell them, like, there's only so much you can do as a Muslim, right? You can turn it off in your car, you can turn it off in your house. You can turn it off in your office. If you turn it off in your office, there's certain places that you can turn it off, but there's certain places you can't. Right? Yeah. And I get it. We all get it. We all understand. We all live in the West, so we are kind of stuck in a certain rut of where we can do and what we can't do. But I'm pretty sure that Allah knows our intentions, right? Allah knows where our eyes want to go, where our ears want to go. He knows our intentions. And that's kind of what I tell the people. What are your intentions? Are your intentions to stop altogether, listening to music? Okay, then go for it. But you can't stop going to the grocery store. I'm sorry, but you got to eat, right? You can't stop going to the mall to get what you need to get or the places to get what you got to get. If you got to eat, you got to eat. If you got to go, you got to go. And yes, maybe, you can tell somebody, well, go on and shop online all the time. Get all your food delivered. You don't have to worry about listening to music all the time. But let's talk reality, right? Reality is what it is.
Yeah,
we can't.
With all respect, brother, that's very important that brother Muhammad here. Give me attention, please, brother and sister. The first hadith in Bukhari Muslim, the first hadith, and everybody understand the hadith. Every Muslim understand. إنما الأعمال بالنيات. Every action with the intention. If I go to the store with my intention to listen to the music, that's haram. If I go to the store or in the mall or anything, I don't have intention to listen, no problem with that. That's the key. The intention.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Like, for example, we go to the store, the restaurant, for example, they offer you wine and pork. What do you do? Run away? No. So, no, I don't drink. I don't eat pork. Simple. The intention. The key is the intention. So, Brother Muhammad, continue.
Absolutely. No, you're good. I'm glad you brought that back up, because intention is the number one thing that I always tell people is when you're walking into somewhere, you're trying to do something. What are your intentions? When you're trying to save a marriage, what's your intention? Is your intention to get back at your wife? Is your intention to get back at your husband? Or is your intention to save this marriage? What's your intention? Is your intention to make your kids grow up to be good Muslims, or my intention is to make a lot of money? Right? Where's your intentions at?
Yes. Brother Muhammad, brother, really important, brother and sister, very important topic here. when I got married, when you get married, brother and sister, every time I get married, I have to, what is the intention to get that woman? The majority of the people, oh, because she's beautiful, she's gorgeous. Any thinking like this, because she's long, beautiful, go to back to Hadith al-Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Yeah, awesome.
Very important that we get married because the money, wealth, because the beauty. And he said at the end of the hadith, فَاظْفَرْ بِذَاتِ الدِّينِ تَرِبَتْ يَدَاكَ. Get the woman with the deen, be a victorious. Good.
That's it. Absolutely.
Intention, Brother Muhammad, for Jazakallah khair, the intention to get married, what? To have a decent, beautiful family and fearing Allah Azza wa Jalla.
Yeah, and getting closer to your deen, right? And that's one of the things that I always tell them. The kids, actually, 3 days ago, I was talking to a brother. I think he was like 25 or 27 years old, who was getting married, and I said, what are the questions you asked this girl before you even tell me about this girl? What were the questions? Because he was given my number from another brother that I was helping with his marriage. He's 20, another young brother, and he was asking me these questions. And the questions he was asking me, I was getting curious on, where did you get these questions from? He said, well, the brother that you were helping, he was helping me with my marriage. And, he told me the stuff that he went through with you. So I said, okay, he told you everything that him and I discussed? He said, yeah, he told me everything that you guys talked about. So he was helping me with my marriage. I go, listen, brother, do me a favor. Tell that brother that's helping you with your marriage that he can't help you with your marriage. That he has to fix his marriage first before he comes giving you advice on how to be married or how to get married.
Yeah.
I made a laugh. I made a joke, and that last brother called me, said, oh, I know what you're saying. I just felt bad. That's why he gave me your number. And I always, I explained to him the number one question that you got to ask these women and that ask the girls, tell the boys. And I did the same thing last week on when I was talking to another sister. The questions you got to ask are very, very, very important. I don't care what they look like. I care about what's on the inside. Right? What are your intentions? Right? Because I have a daughter. So of course I'm going to ask the questions. I'm going to ask some questions. I'm going to have the questions that you need to make sure that you have the answers to. And not just the answers because you read it out of a book. I want to know what's inside of your heart. Right? Because anybody can say the right thing, and anybody can say that, what you want to hear, right? They can fake it to make it. Right? We say that's a prison term, right? In prison, in the yard, they used to say, fake it till you make it, bro. I got 2 more years left. I gotta fake it to make it. I gotta stay on my toes and be good until I get out of here. Then I'm gonna do what I want to do. And they do the same thing when they're about to get married. They say certain things a certain way, and they make themselves sound so, manly or Islamically right, and we're so good, and I wear hijab, and I'm the best girl in the town, the best girl in the world. And I always tell them, like, okay, it's gonna take some time to weed out the lies, right? You can only lie for so long, right? And a lot of times what ends up happening is these guys, these boys, these men are watching this stuff on YouTube or on TikTok or on Instagram. They're watching these guys teach them how to be a man. Right? I have this guy who said that if I have to say like this to a woman, I have to be like that to a girl. I have to do this, and she has to make me a sandwich. Whoa. I said, hold on, my brother, hold on. And then I have to explain to them, whatever you're seeing online, don't listen. Please don't listen to these people. It's clickbait. They're trying to make you click their videos. They want you to watch a video for more than 1 minute, because if you watch a video for more than 1 minute, they get paid. They're not doing things in your best interest, right? And it becomes so ridiculous that some of the stuff, like even this brother that I was talking to a couple of days ago, the stuff he was saying to me, he had such a thick Arabic accent, and he was saying all this Islamically correct stuff, and I'm like, okay, you're talking Arabic, you have good deen in you, but you're asking the wrong questions.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm asking him questions, and his answers are crazy. I said, brother, I think you're watching too much TikTok. I told him, I know what you're watching. I know what you're watching because I see that stuff. And all that stuff is lies. It's lies. It's clickbait. They want you to keep watching their videos. They want you to follow them. They want you to subscribe to their channel because they get paid.
But Brother Muhammad, uh, that's true, but also the Arab country and actually Africa also, our culture to the woman is supposed to do everything in the house. For example, me myself, when I got married, you know my wife very well. I make tea for her, hot water for her every day. By the way, after the Simi Ibrahim tea, hot water, hot water. I cook for her. But when I went to Gaza for my family, I do that for I cook for my wife, tea for my wife. What? Are you crazy? أنت مجنون? They think the surprise for me as a man for and serving my wife. And Rasulullah, our example, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he dealing with his household, he cook, he clean, he take care of the house with their wives.
Oh yeah.
With love.
Yeah, of course.
If that way, if we will follow Rasulullah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Oh, you don't know you don't know how much heat I got for changing diapers. how trouble I got from the older men generation for changing diapers for my own children.
Yeah, you're born here. Even you're born here. It's about me.
Yeah, and it's funny because I clean, I do laundry, and it's not for anything, but it's like at the end of the day, it's what I tell the guys when I'm about to get married. It's they say, oh, it's 50-50. I have to work and she has to do the rest of the household. I said, no, there's no such thing as 50-50. There's no such thing as 50. It's 100. You got to put 100%, and she's got to put 100%, and that's the only way you're going to make this work out.
My house.
Whatever they're seeing online, the stuff that they're seeing online, the girls where they're watching these videos of these girls who wear hijabs and they're all prettied up with tons of makeup on their faces, and they're saying, if you want to marry me, you better give me a $1 million meher and a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
And you see these you see these things, and then you talk to the girl, and she's like, well, he has to give me at least $100,000.
But our culture, I don't know about the American culture here, Muslim culture here. I don't know about that. But I know our culture about the maher, millions. Believe it or not, kids actually from our country, but I don't want to mention the name. In this state, I perform marriage for them. And the maher was $1 million. And that was the celebration in Miami. And believe it or not, the celebration, maybe another 2 million or 2 more. Believe it or not, second day they got the divorce.
Yeah.
Second day they got divorce. And in the courthouse.
Yeah. And so that's you have to ask yourself, and this is one of the things I tell the guys and the girls. I tell them, like, are you marrying for money, or you're marrying for the sake of deen, for the sake of your religion? What's your intention, right? It all circles back to what your intentions are with whatever you're doing, right? Whatever you're doing, like when I watch these videos, I have all the apps I download on my phone. I download download Bigo, One TV, all these apps on TikTok, all that stuff. And I'm scrolling through Snapchat and all these things. My intention is not to be doing anything haram. My intention is to learn what these kids are watching and what these kids are seeing. So when I do do my lectures and my talks at the schools and at the churches, at the masjids, then I know exactly what they're talking about when they say certain words, right? Because we back in our days growing up, we have certain slang words that we used, things that we've done back in our days that our parents are like, what is this? What are these people saying? And what are you kids talking about? How are you kids? What's that word mean? Well, now I'm trying to keep up with them, and that's why my intention is to get educated and gain knowledge, so I can be explaining to them what's haram, what's halal, and why it's bad for these kids to watch what they're watching. Not just the Muslims. I always have to remind the kids, even in the schools.
Everybody, yeah.
I have to tell the kids in the schools. So just so you know, that person who is working out and exercising, and they have to make the video, they have to buff it out, they have to edit it, they have to make the thing clearer, so they don't really look like that. The girls that are they're 5 second, the girls that are they're watching themselves, coming out of the water, and they have all their hair beautifully done and their face. I'm like, the girl just got out of a pool with a ton of makeup on. Do you really think that's real?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's not real stuff. It's not realistic stuff. It's all fake. It's all filters. And what it does is it creates this image in the weak-minded, weak-souled kids that I have to look like this. I have to do whatever that person is saying. I follow this person got 10 million followers. That means they have to be true. And let me we only have a couple minutes left. So let me just say this real quick. We're very quick to ask people who have millions of followers to make a post about what's going on overseas, or to say something about this or say something about that. Who are these people, these influencers, that we care so much about of what they think or what they say? We don't need to care about what people think or what people say. I tell the kids this, I tell parents this, I tell my family this. We only care about one thing: what Allah thinks, what Allah says.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
That's it. We don't care about anything else. We don't care, you know, about these Muslim rappers, these Muslim singers, or these people, social media influencers who's got millions and millions of followers. We don't care about that, because we understand that there's only one person that we got to make. There's only one being that we got to make happy, that we got to follow,
Allah Azza wa Jal.
and that's it. And I tell the kids that all the time. You want to be a social media influencer? Because I get that now a lot with these kids when I ask them, 5 years from now, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I want to be the social media influencer. I used to be a football player, used to be a soccer player. Now people want to be a social media influencer. Okay, what are you going to do when you want an influencer? What kind of influence do you want to have on people? Because that's a big word, influencer. We don't know what that really word means, to influence. To influence people, and they call them influencers for a reason. They influence you to make a purchase. They influence you to buy something. They influence you to dress a certain way, right? They're influencing you. They're making you think that this is the way you got to do, right? And we see a lot of that happening. We see a lot of people who are social media influencers in cooking, social media influencers in holistic health, doctors. Everybody now is an attorney. And a lot of times I have to go to the kids and tell the kids, because I do a lot of stuff with law enforcement. Well, I saw on TikTok that I don't have to give the cop my ID, and I don't have to talk to the cop if I don't want to talk to the cop, and I don't want to. And so I explained to them, listen, just so you know, everything you're seeing online isn't real. That guy that the guy was talking to, and I saw one of the videos that the kids were talking about. The guy was an actor wearing a police uniform with his friend in the car, and they were playing a little scene on TikTok. And so I told them, that's not real, guys. That's not how it works. Just so you know, law enforcement are human beings. They're doing their job. If you're speeding, you shouldn't be speeding. They're going to give you a ticket. And if you're going to become a jerk and to that person that's just coming and doing their job, instead of thinking to yourself, maybe that cop stopped me, and he made me stop because if I kept going down the street a mile down farther, I would have probably gotten in a car crash and died.
Yes.
Like, we don't think like this, right? We don't. Our brains are not wired to think, alhamdulillah, he probably just saved my life without me even knowing about it.
Correct. Yeah, agree. Okay, 5 minutes left, brother and sister. Annie, you want to ask a question?
Sorry.
Okay. Sister Layla, 5 minutes left, inshallah. 4 minutes, sorry for that, for the delay. If any questions before we finish, any question, Sister Layla or Sister Anisa, and whoever.
It's going to take a lot of time. It takes a lot of time because, again, like we said before, it's everywhere, right? It's everywhere. It's in the restaurants you go to. It's in the malls you go to. It's anywhere you go to. It is there. And so if you're not filling up the time that they're not out and about with something else, and unfortunately, what's the worst? What's the hardest? And I say the worst. The hardest thing to do is to fill up that time with something else. Right? It's very difficult. Because what ends up happening is it becomes like, how do you say it in English? How do you say ham in English, Brother Jamal?
What that?
The ham. Like,
خنزير.
No, not ham. Hemp,
حامل.
like not ham. No, like it becomes like a bothersome, like a bother. Like it becomes bothersome to us as parents because now we got to fill up that time. So now it becomes on us as a parent that now we have to go out of our way
Okay.
to make sure our kids aren't listening to music by filling up that time with something to do
Okay.
something with them. Like a bother, like it becomes annoying, an annoyance for us as parents. Then, and what it does is it kind of makes us have to change our routine as well, right? Because again, like I said, in the middle of this thing where we're talking about was, we have to watch what they're watching, and they have to watch what we're watching. And so if we can fill up that time with watching something together that's humble, that's halal, that's good, you're gonna see a big change in your kids. Inshallah.
Okay, this another sister here said, I've been trying to get my kids and husband too to stop listening to music, but my husband likes to throw up in my face Cat Stevens. Okay, she said my husband throws up. What about Cat Stevens?
Is your husband a Muslim?
Yeah,
Islam.
he's from my era, evidently. Cat Stevens. His name is Hamza now, right?
I don't know what his name is, but I look at the chat. Somebody just popped up and said inconvenience. Yes, it becomes an inconvenience for us parents, and now we have to spend more time with our kids to make sure we watch make sure we're like explaining and watching what they're watching. As a father myself, and I'll talk to this father who does what he's doing. You got to ask yourself the question: how do you want your kids to be raised? How do you want your kids to grow up? If you're a Muslim, I know, because alhamdulillah, I'm a Muslim. Alhamdulillah, I would say alhamdulillah. I would say for myself, I always want my kids to be the best Muslims they can be. Right? We're not going to be perfect Muslims. There's no such thing as a perfect Muslim. Anybody ever tells you that they're a perfect Muslim, they're lying. But our intentions should be the best Muslims we could be. That's what our intention should always be. And if I'm a parent, I would want my kids to be the best Muslims they can be. And how can I do that? By making some changes in our lives, in our daily lives. Inshallah. Sorry, I ask you the time, Phil.
Yes, Sister Laila, this is a question, by the way. It's very hard to stop our kids from social media and the phone and the music. It's not easy, but there is a lot of strategy we can teach our kids regarding this system. Maybe next week, Tuesday, Brother Muhammad and I can bring some steps and then discuss with him in advance.
Inshallah.
Yeah, yes, we can. But there is no way to be fast, step by step. But immediately it's hard. It's very hard.
It is. That's very.
But later, I was actually in Al-Azhar University. I start the music. I start to view. Plus, I was a professional musician after that in university, Al-Azhar, because in Azhar is not haram. Until I don't know when. The last year, I was hardship calamity, and I almost died in the last year in university in Egypt. And then one of the shuyukh, two speaking together about the music. I was listening to them. I'm not listening. There's a night lecture. There are two shuyukh speaking together, and me, I just complete attention. Imagine, before I was addicted to music, the oud, similar to guitar. I was playing actually in the parties in the university. And then after that, when I listened to them, I completely stopped that music period in my life until now. I was 25 years, 63 now.
There's a good video I have that I saw on YouTube when I used to do the Islamic classes with the kids, the teenagers. I used to do a day just about the music. And I still didn't watch this video about, it was a good Islamic video. Inshallah, next time I'll see if I can kind of find it on my saved YouTube videos and I'll put the link in, inshallah, so you guys can kind of see that video that I show the kids why it's haram, the story about the music and how the shaitan brought it into existence, inshallah.
الذكر haram, inshallah. You speak about scientifically, inshallah. And Sister Laila, of course, as American also, yes, the Muslimah, have Egyptian, you can join us inshallah next week with Ibn Ta'ala.
Sure.
The time, sorry for that, in more than 1 hour, forgive us inshallah. But may Allah Azza wa Jalla guide us all of us to the right path inshallah. Yes, brother and sister, a lot of people today actually was in the hospital today, have some kind of procedure, and suddenly everybody will have like a corn with the trees in their head and something celebration and Christmas. Many people say happy Christmas. No, something at Christmas. I forgot. Merry Christmas. Sorry, Merry Christmas. I say thank you. I didn't say well, but in fact I don't understand what they mean. Merry Christmas. Mary is Mary alayhi salam. Anyway, yes, brother and sister, we have to be careful. Alhamdulillah, we're not celebrating that. We have to be also with very important, please. A lot of your family, new Muslims, they are Christian, they want to celebrate. You can't, some people, no, I'm not going to share me with my family. With my respect, do not share. And they know you're not sharing. But be there. You don't share with anything, but be with your family. Don't say Merry Christmas. Say thank you. Say, make any dua, an Islamic dua. May Allah guide you. May Allah bless you. But do not. But you can do a lot of strategy to deal with this kind, just to make da'wah your own family. Your own family, especially new Muslim. Make da'wah, invite them to the Islam indirectly, not directly. Especially Christmas. I don't know Christmas exactly. Because Christmas in Palestine, January 7th. They believe Isa alayhi salam born in Palestine. Here, I don't know what's going on. But my point, we don't celebrate, but also do not be against your family if you are celebrating, especially new Muslims. Plus, unless if you are a family, Muslim family, we have the tree, or the brother Muhammad said, we don't have this, alhamdulillah, be firm. If you are family, Muslim family, yes, I'm against it, you can be out of the house, leave the house even. If there is Muslim family in the house, they're celebrating that. Do not be involved with that period in haram. But in new Muslims, you are the only one in the family, Muslim, and the rest Christian, don't be involved. But at the same time, to be against them, you're going to lose your family. And it's very important to make da'wah. May Allah Azza wa Jalla guide us, all of us, to the right path. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide all the American here to the Islam, Ya Rabbil Alameen. All brothers and sisters, subhanakallah wa bihamdik. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاك الله خير محمد أسس الليلة أني وعلي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.